So far we have been working with the basic text files, but in this lecture we will see how we can work with the CSV files. Every one of you would have worked with spreadsheets or tables in the form of Excel or Google Sheets. This means you have already worked with the CSV files. CSV stands for comma separated values. It's a simple file format used to store tabular data in the form of rows and columns. CSV files are everywhere. They are used for exporting reports from websites and databases, sharing data between programs, storing logs, records, and more. It's widely used in the data science projects. Python gives us powerful tools to work with them using the CSV module, and this module makes reading and writing CSV files very simple. In this lecture, for the demo purpose, we are going to make use of this CSV file, the student.csv. It has got a name, age, and grade of different students. We have got the names of the students, the age, and the grade for each student. Here, each line is a row, and each value is separated by a comma. It is like a mini spreadsheet. The first row represents the header of the CSV file. The rest of the rows contain the student data. And when we open this from the Jupyter notebook, it looks like this. It is pretty well formatted in a tabular form with rows and columns. We will write a Python program to read this file and display its contents. So we import the built-in CSV module, which helps us to work with the CSV files. We then open the student.csv file in the read mode. We use the with block so that the file gets closed automatically after we are done, and this is one of the best practices to follow. We then create the reader object using the reader method of the CSV module, and this reader method takes the handle of the CSV file. This will let us read the file row by row, where each row values are returned as a list. We then use a simple for loop to go through each of these rows and print it. Let us run this now and we get the output here. As we see, each row is now returned as a list. Each line from the CSV becomes a list of strings here. Yes, everything is read as a string. If we want to do some math on these age values, we will need to convert them into integers. So basically, everything from the CSV file is read as integers. Here we read the data from the student.csv with 4 rows. How about a file with 10,000 rows? Doesn't matter. The same code will work for that also. With the open function, we open that file. The reader method will read each row and put it in the reader object. And then we iterate using the for loop to print each of these rows. So it doesn't matter whatever be the size of the CSV file. These 4 lines of code will help you to read the contents of the file. Now let's make our code a little smarter and more readable by using the csv.dictReader instead of csv.reader. But why we need to do this? The dictReader treats the first row of the CSV file as column headers and gives us each row as a dictionary. The reader returned a list, whereas the dictReader will return a dictionary. And here, the keys will be the column names. So instead of reader, let me change it to dictReader. Now this reader object, instead of a list, will hold dictionaries. Let's run this and see the output. Here we go. Here we got 4 dictionaries. Each row is now returned as a dictionary. And as we could see, the column headers are the keys here. Now we can access values using the column names. Let us try to print the specific fields. Here we are printing the name and grade of each student. We run it and we get the output here. So which method looks better? The csv.reader, the csv.dictReader. It depends upon the requirement. But csv.dictReader is more flexible as it gives more possibility of getting data as we like. Now we know how to read a CSV file. Next we will jump in to learn how to write to a CSV file. We will create a new students.csv file and write some content to it. Since we have already imported the CSV module, we don't need to do it again. Using the with block, we open the file in the write mode. We also add a new line equals blank space. This is very important to note. In some of the operating systems, especially in Windows, we get an extra blank line when we print the output. This new line equals blank space will prevent that. So it's always recommended to add this new line equals blank space whenever we try to write content into a CSV file. We then create a writer object using the csv.writer and pass the handle of the file as an argument. This object lets us write the rows into the file. We then write the header row. They are just like the column names in the Excel file, name, age, and grade. We then use the write row method to write 4 student records. Let's run this. A new file called newstudents.csv will be created, and it will look like this. And we have the name, age and grade with 4 rows created. Let me change one of these names. Let's say Mark to Rohit, and run this program again. Let's go back to this file and see. And we can see the name changed from Mark to Rohit. So when we use the write mode, it will overwrite the contents of the file if it already exists. So what to do if we want to append the contents of the file? We have to use the append mode. So here instead of W, if we say A, which is the append mode, it will add new rows to the end of the file without deleting the existing content. Let's try that out. So let me change this W to A. Also, I will change the names of the students. And then run it. And let us look into the file this time. And we can see the new students are appended to the file. They are not overwritten, but they got appended. One thing we notice, the header is also appended one more time. But if you do not want to repeat the header, then we can go for dict writer. CSV dict writer is a great choice. It lets you write rows using dictionary keys, which makes your code cleaner and more readable, especially when you are working with the real world data. So let's see how we can make use of the CSV dict writer. Here we got a list, new data, with the 2 dictionary elements. And each dictionary has 3 key value pairs, the name, age, and grade. And we want to append this data into our CSV file. So here's the code we have, and let's try to understand it. We open the file newstudents.csv in the append mode. We then define the call names, which are the keys we expect in each dictionary. They become the column headers in the CSV file. We then create the dict writer object with our file and the field names. The field names here are the column names. We then loop through our data with each student record as a row in the CSV file. If we want to write to a new file instead of appending, we use the write mode. And in that case, we want to write the header. So we use the write header method to write the header of the file. But since we are appending the students' records into an existing file, we don't want to write the header one more time. So we don't call the write header method in this case. So let's run this code and check out the file. So this time we can see the new students.csv got appended with 2 more names. But this time, only the names are appended, not the header. So to summarize, in this lecture you have learned what CSV files are and why they are useful. You learned how to read CSV files using the csv.reader and csv.dictReader and what's the difference between the 2 methods. You also learned how to write and append to CSV files using the CSV writer and CSV dict writer and in what way they are different. We also learned some of the best practices like using the with blocks and handling new lines. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. I would love to hear from you, your thought on this tutorial. Please leave your comments at the bottom. Please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching and see you again soon.